3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the DBAD movement. This is the Don't Be a Dickhead podcast with me, John Gilbert.
Me, Ian Thompson.
And me, Alex King.
Welcome along. So today we're back to school.
Yeah.
And we've got so many episodes in before we talked about this one because the school years are so formative. Do you ever feel like the few years you spent at school, let's say 10 years, does that feel like longer and more impressionable than any other decade of your life, Ian? I was going to ask Alex, and then I remembered that she's only in her third decade.
Yeah, true, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I do have lots of memories and things like that of school, although I don't really keep in touch with many people from school. But then maybe that's just me.
That doesn't mean they didn't happen. You don't doesn't erase the memory.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. Did it shape me?
Well, it must have done.
Yeah.
Presumably,
It
yeah.
is a large portion of your life that you're at school for.
Yeah, I just feel like we're doing my teachers down by saying it shaped me.
Well, you can only mould the shit so far.
Yeah, by and large, they were all right. I quite liked my teachers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing is, you pop up in some of the community feedback here because you weren't just a student; you were also the other side of the teaching fence.
I was a teacher for a while.
Well, I can't imagine being taught.
I really can't imagine it.
I don't think I was great, I'll be honest.
Well, when you've taught us stuff, like you taught Alex how to do the editing of podcasts and such, like you are
that
very
was
good at it.
Yeah, to be fair, you can tell you've had experience.
Thank you very much. I think I'm all right at certain things, like giving out instructions. It's like the discipline side of things that I wasn't very good at.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just end up just like, shut up, please. Like weeping and shouting in the corner.
Weeping in the corner is one strategy that you might have used, but the community have come forward with some different suggestions that their teachers deployed.
Yeah, so Georgina Garton has said at primary school, a boy had his mouth washed out with soap for saying shit. He then nutted the teacher and ran off. It was like a Benny Hill scene watching the teachers chase him across the school field.
When this says for saying shit, do you mean he actually said the word shit?
Yeah, I think he
said
said the word shit.
So he wasn't just like chatting shit or something, as they say.
I mean, maybe both.
And when they say like a Benny Hill thing, do they mean there was like a weird sexual undertone to chasing the child around?
Did all the teachers run after him in just their underwear?
And was that actually a thing, getting your mouth washed out with soap? Was that a thing? I've
Wash your
heard
mouth
it, but
out,
I never knew it was a thing.
I didn't know that they'd actually do it in school. That does seem a little bit hardcore.
So let's process this. So at primary school, young, right, a boy had his mouth washed out with soap for saying shit. He then nutted the teacher and ran off. It was like a Benny Hill scene, watching the teachers chase. So he got out of the school because he got to the school field.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm yeah. Was the teacher like chasing him with blood pouring out of his nose and things?
Well, maybe that teacher wasn't the one doing the chasing.
Maybe so. I mean, I'm saying it's a he. Could have been a she.
This is true. I mean, it's very dramatic.
And they must have done it in front of everybody as well, which is quite intense.
I remember when I was at school and a teacher threw out the lad that was sat next to me for messing about, and when she like shoved him out, he kind of turned around like, "Don't you shove me!" And she slammed the door, and he just stuck his fist out, and it went through the glass in the door and showered her with glass. And me, I hastened to her because I was sat next to it, and the teacher just kind of went, "Ah! I am injured!" Right? To which we reacted really sympathetically and maturely. Oh no, wait, no, we didn't. Just laughed our heads off, and then got in trouble for laughing. But I mean, it was funny. Nobody got seriously hurt. I mean, he cut his hand, and she had a tiny bit of glass coming out of her leg. I was uninjured, thanks for asking.
I'm glad you was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like a Benny Hill sketch, though.
No.
It was more just like a
I've never seen a Benny Hill
piece of urban decay.
I mean, Benny Hill was...
To be fair, Benny Hill's before our time as well.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
I caught the end of it.
Okay.
We've had another similar comment from Jamie Rhodes. He said, we had a teacher who caught a kid eating a piece of paper in a lesson, so he made him eat a full A4 sheet.
I mean, surely there's worse things than eating a bit of paper.
A full... It's like me asking you to eat this much
Show
paper.
notes.
No, I'm more
show
thinking
notes.
about like the teacher. I mean, it was only a little bit of paper.
Why was he so angry about that?
It just seems like an absurd thing to get annoyed about. Surely there's bigger things like people putting their hands through doors or headbutts to the teacher.
It's just, Yeah, but he's wrong on so many levels, this, because when a child eats something that they're not supposed to eat, it's usually a sign of mental ill health. So
Yeah,
you
this
wouldn't
is
then
true.
just like, I know how I'll fix your weird mental health problem. Do more of it. I mean, it's wrong.
It is a bit.
Yeah, why wasn't he allowed to eat the bit of paper? Because it's bad for him. So then make him eat more.
I don't know. He just went, that rainforest died for that piece of paper and you're misusing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Unless he just, like, it was part of, like, I don't know, biology lesson and he wanted him to study his feces afterwards.
Yeah.
Challenge his stomach to turn into a piece of origami coming out of his ass or something. Seems unlikely. Teachers are dickheads.
Yeah.
You always remember when teachers were dickheads? You were like that piece of injustice.
Yeah.
That you...
When I went back to teach, I actually taught at my secondary school that I went to. And when I went back, there was a teacher there who... there's quite a few of the teachers there who were there when I was attending the school as well. And one of them was like, "Oh, Ian, didn't you come to this school?" I was like, "Yeah, I did, yeah. Oh, gosh, I hope I didn't teach you." I was thinking, like, well, you did. You were actually my form tutor. I mean, like, you absolutely 100% did. You hated me. You literally hated me. She threw me out of her class in the end.
Oh.
She threw me out of a class, and I ended up in a class with like all the bad guys. So like, there's too many people in each class, so they got an extra teacher and they added another form to the year group. And so every tutor was asked, pick like 2 or 3 people to go into this new tutor group. So they all just picked the ones that they didn't like. And so I got picked, but it turns out I was in a class with all like the nutcases. But it was quite good because I got on well with them all, and so like, but because I was in their class, I was kind of protected. So my entire way through school, aside from the times when I just got headbutted about 5 days in a row, Alex loves that story. Then I was like, that was when I first arrived. So I think it was before I was put in this class. So anyway,
It takes a bit of getting used to, does it? I mean,
Yeah.
First time you want to meet him, you definitely want to headbutt him.
Yeah.
But after a while, he's just one of the guys.
Well, yeah, exactly. So I became one of the guys then. So anyone who was likely to start a fight was always in my class. So if anyone was angry with me, then they'd have to deal with my class first.
Is that why you're so sassy?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
Yeah.
like the backstory to Suicide Squad or something. Oh God, yeah. But yeah, so the community have been commenting on your teaching abilities.
Yes.
Yeah, so Katie Spurts has said, I had a rubbish singing teacher at one point. I'm pretty sure he lost all of the marks for our course and just made them up.
Which is exactly what happened.
Wow. So can you explain, please?
Yeah. So when she says she's pretty sure that I did that, that's because she knows that that's what happened.
Right.
It's not a great story. I lost all of the marks.
So was that in school or was it college?
It was college.
College.
So it was at college.
This is like a proper qualification.
Yeah.
So I was at college. It was for the BTEC and they had to do a singing module. And the head of the BTEC said, "Can I get all the marks off you?" I was like, "Yeah, they're in a folder in my car." Went to my car, couldn't find it at all. Looked for like 2 days, couldn't find the folder. And eventually I had to make up the marks. So I just made them
I thought you was
up.
going to say you had to make them up on the spot.
No. I had to make up the marks and made them up as best I could. And then handed them in. Anyway, and almost like the day after I handed them in, I found the marks. I'd done pretty well. Pretty well.
Well, that's good.
I'd say averaged out about right. Some I'd put up, some I'd put down. Sorry to them.
Yeah, all those singing careers
Yeah.
in tatters.
Yeah.
I gotta see.
But yeah, you know. So,
And we're comfortable that there's no recourse from that.
well, I'd hope not. I don't know. What's the statute of limitations on defrauding BTECs?
I don't know. I think right now, given the COVID crisis, when we're just making up
Yeah.
exam results anyhow,
I was just.
you were a pioneer.
I was just running
Not for the first time in your life, you were a pioneer
Thanks
of
very much.
COVID exam.
makeups.
Thank you. Yes, I was desperately lacking a word there, wasn't I? I do seem like I've swallowed like a dictionary today, which reminds me, when I was at school, we just got in the dictionary, find all the rude words, just highlight them and then put them back.
Nice. I thought you were
I'm
going to
pretty
say
sure we
eat
used to
them.
do that. Yeah,
I think it's illegal not to, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
It was. I remember going through dictionaries and finding the rude words. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Another one of your former students has been in touch as well.
Yeah, Emma Chloe. So I think you taught her for GCSE drama, Ian, and she said the first session Ian had with us involved someone pulling the chair away from some guy and he smacked his head so hard on the table that he had a bump on it.
Don't remember this.
So was you the one pulling the chair away?
I hope not. I was a teacher.
Well, I mean, you're not really setting a very good...
It's like, I hope not.
Yeah.
Not definitely not.
Well, I mean, I don't remember it, so I mean, it could have been. Could have been me that hit my head, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It was a standout memory of Emma Chloe.
It must have involved you, though, otherwise you wouldn't have remembered that it was in your class, unless...
Well, I mean, presumably I had to do something about it. I don't know. If it was their first lesson, I wouldn't have been very well equipped either. I do remember once in a drama lesson, someone went to fight another lad, and I was stood there while they were having this bit argument, and this kid went to punch the other kid, and just out of like reaction, I reached up and grabbed the kid who'd gone to punch and pulled him back. But I only managed to get like the back of his shirt in like a horse collar tackle. I mean, they're illegal in NFL. So I pulled him back and literally ripped the shirt off him. And the rest of the kids thought this was absolutely amazing.
It's like something from Benny Hill.
Yeah, but I had to send him to go and see another teacher without
a shirt on.
Yeah, go and see the head and tell them Mr. Thompson did this.
Yeah. Also, it's a sign of incredible strength.
Thank you very much.
I'd be quite impressed.
I think it was quite a thin shirt, but yeah.
Unless he also like, I don't know, moonlighted as a stripper after school.
Maybe so. Maybe it was all Velcro.
Yeah, Velcro. Got proper buttons. Which is when he ripped it off and he was wearing nothing but a bow tie. Go see the head teacher.
Right. Yeah.
In fairness to Ian and the issue with the injured child from the drama class, that was a comment from regular contributor to the show, Emma Chloe, who we know was plagued by a poltergeist. So maybe it was the poltergeist that pulled the chair away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't cover that in teacher training, did they?
Yeah.
The plot thickens.
It certainly does. Check out our episode on the supernatural for further details. Okay.
Another time, I was in a computer suite covering a lesson, and I knew that this kid was messing about and going on websites he shouldn't do. And I kept getting up and like speaking to him and looking on his screen and things like that, and there was just nothing there. And I was like, "What's he doing?" Then I noticed on one of his tabs there was a web address, but it was like a real like nothing web address. So I thought, right, I'll check out what this is. And so I went back to my computer at the teacher's desk where only I could see the screen, and I typed it in, and it was just a horrific picture of a guy stretching his ass open with some machinery, but as well as that, when you signed onto the website, that picture came up and this noise that went at which point I thought, this kid, because he's got headphones and he's going to know what I'm looking at, so I just kicked the computer over and then ripped the plug out. And just all the kids looked at me. I was like, carry on.
How long were you teacher?
18 months. And then
18 months.
But before that I was at Wyke. And before that I was at... Yes, I've been to 3 schools. 18 months was my longest employment.
18 months isn't as long as what you could get for watching porn amongst children.
And I didn't tell him off about it because I thought, if I tell him off now, he's going to know that I've seen it, and I don't want him to know that I've seen that because it's horrific, and I never ever want to see it. So I thought, I'm covering a lesson. I don't have to see this kid again.
We'll have to see if we can find it and link it in the show notes.
Can you remember what it was?
Maybe not.
Web address?
No, I didn't.
I'm not going to Google it to try and find it either. Right, so we're talking about school, which of course is like fond childhood memories. Should we get back onto something a little bit more appropriate?
Yeah.
What else have the community been saying?
So Sally Gilbert has said, I'm still not sure what the point of this was, but I remember it being drummed into us that it was very important, and it was a picture of the National Record of Achievement. See, I didn't have this.
Didn't you?
No.
It was like the Burgundy Bible.
Yeah. I'm sure I was just blue.
So the National Record of Achievement was a government initiative where they used to just like drill it home to all students in the 90s that this was the most important thing in your life, basically, and you would never get a job without it because anything that you achieved was to go in there. And if it wasn't in there, it's like it never happened.
So like just literally any achievement.
Did you put your... Because I don't even remember putting my GCSEs in there.
Well, I think by the time your GCSEs come along, you were smart enough to know it was a load of bullshit.
Yeah, okay. I think I didn't... I can't think what I'd have had in apart from things like music exams and things like that. And
I remember when I was 17 getting older with my mates and just having such a good laugh that he'd put in like, so-and-so has made a cake aged 12 and things like that, or he has successfully walked for a mile and things like that. So any prospective employer is going to be going, Really, this is very impressive. I like cakes. We never know when that will come in useful for this engineering job.
It was really shit, wasn't it? I suppose it was to help you build a CV or something, but...
Well, again, they spent a lot of money on it. And you now the National Record of Achievement books themselves are used as wine menus in Italian restaurants, I believe.
It was that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
You know,
okay,
like those
yeah.
thicker, like...
You can buy them. I looked it up. There's like...
Did my nose just whistle?
Is that what that was?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Okay. Oh God, there's dogs at the door. Also, let's imagine that we're in Ian's class. Hey, Alex, this is my chubby teenager. Did Sayre's nose just whistle? Whistling bastard. It's like that noise that his computer made that time he was looking at inappropriate anal porn.
Oh, God.
Molly Brown's been in touch.
Yeah, she said, when you were in music, which was really dick about on your keyboard hour, all kids that did not have a musical burn in their body, the whole class except you, would sit there and press the DJ button for the whole 45 minutes of activity time.
That's true, actually. And when I was at school, I don't know whether they were just really expensive, but no one had headphones. Whereas now, everyone gets their own headphones.
Yeah, it was just carnage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mine was the Is It Just the Way You Are, and you would just go do no 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 do no 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 no, and then you could
Billy
the only thing
Joel.
you could do would be like, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Then you could change it to like different sound effects and pretend that you were playing. And I remember doing that. I was a musically untalented one. Although I have to say, Molly Brown, I'm glad that you were musically talented, and I imagine it was frustrating. But the inconsistency here is what I did do was studied maths. So you've said that it was dick about for an hour, but then said it only lasted for 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Not to alienate the community, but...
So Molly obviously concentrated in music, but not in maths.
No. So there's an example of dickheadery on my part.
Oh,
Sorry, Molly.
there we go.
What about the rules that were set up for us in school? And I don't mean by the teachers or by the government and the National Record of Achievement ploy. The actual, like,
Things like
you know,
not eating
playground
paper.
rules.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, the law of the playground.
I remember once getting into trouble in the playground. There was a huge snowball fight. So my school backed onto a sixth form college. It was separate. It wasn't the school's sixth form college. And every winter we used to have a snowball fight against the sixth form college. They got stopped eventually because they got really quite violent. And I remember one time being stood there watching the snowball fight and occasionally join in, and there's a couple of teachers behind me like telling people don't engage in the snowball fight, and then a snowball came over from one of the college students and it was heading straight for the teacher, and I threw my hand up in the air in front of the teacher's face to try and stop him from getting hit by the snowball. And I obviously wasn't a very good judge of the trajectory because he stepped aside to get away from my hand and it hit him straight in his face. So I wouldn't have actually helped him. Even if I hadn't have put my hand up, it'd have probably just missed him. But as it is, I actually acted
Assisted.
to move him into the trajectory of the snowball.
Well, it could be worse. You could have got your thumb caught under his collar and ripped his shirt off.
Yeah.
You don't seem to have a great track record on these things.
Anyway, I got into trouble for that.
That's not fair,
I
is
know,
it?
yeah, I think that's fine.
The naughtiest thing I did in a playground was, remember caps, them little make a little crackly noise. We bought some caps and we would put all of the gunpowder or whatever it is into the plastic bits from Kinder eggs, and when you threw those, it would make a hell of a bang.
You
And we would do
made
that.
bombs.
Yeah, we basically made bombs, and we would do it one time, and my mate threw it at Robbie Williams. The Robbie Williams, who was touring school with Take That.
Really?
He was like, take that there, my mate.
Yeah,
Went,
yeah.
I've got one of them bombs. And then we just shouted, oi! And then he just lobbed his bomb. It made a loud noise and we just ran away.
Yeah, because take that when they first started, toured schools, and they came to about 3 whole primary schools.
Yeah, well, this was a secondary school. It was a double bill. I remember it. It was Take That and Eternal. And I didn't go because I thought I was too cool for that, which I definitely wasn't.
No,
Oh God, I should definitely have gone to that. I like Eternal and Take That now. Because one of the misguided principles I had was that it was important to try and be cool at school, and I realise now that's one of the least important things in the world. But I was never very good at it, though, the whole being cool thing, and I blame my mum, because she spoilt any opportunity I had for that at primary school when one day, for a joke, my mum, dressed head to toe as a clown, right, came to pick me up from school, which she didn't normally do, and she normally walk home, and just like ran out in the playground and go woo, and everybody was like running around following my mum, and she was like,
Was that in primary school?
It was in primary school.
Yeah.
She was running around in a silly outfit and they were running after her, a bit like a Benny Hill sketch.
Yeah, it was very like a Benny Hill sketch, but with less headbutting. But which I would have preferred her doing that to me. It's one of those. Sort of, my mum, if she ever listens to these podcasts, it's like, you're a great mum, but a lot of the things don't make sense.
That's absolutely incredible.
This is one of them. Why did she do that? It's quite funny now. It wasn't particularly funny at the time. So yeah,
It'd have been funny if it was secondary school.
I don't remember my mum being particularly embarrassing at secondary school, although I do remember once going to the planning, like, you know, when they have like a school trip coming up and they invite the parents in, and like they tell us about this camping trip that was going on, which I've talked about on the camping podcast. I had tremendous fun. And two things happened that stay in my mind from that particular evening is, one, the only parent in the room who seemed to have any questions to ask was my mum, and my mate, who was sat next to me at the time, just went, "Who's that stupid bitch? We should stop asking questions."
But you were like, I don't know.
Well, I think I probably was. I'm ashamed to say I probably went, "Yeah, right," something like that, rather than going, "That's my mother, you're disrespecting."
Because he was Beavis when he was growing up.
Well, then there was and there was certainly nothing cool about me, because the other thing I distinctly remember about that evening is looking around in horror and realising that I was the only person in a shell suit.
Full shell suit?
In a world of jeans.
Matching.
I
full
love shell suits.
So apparently the world had said, no, we don't do shell suits anymore. And the world hadn't told me. And I was just like, what's going on?
I remember getting my first shell suit when I was at secondary school. They were amazing. They were really nice.
They're kind of back in now.
I think mine was a head one. You know, like the big head bags you used to get. I think I got a head shell suit.
Oh.
Yeah. And, well, I think they're ironic now, aren't they? I don't think they were back then. No. We just like to know that we could burst into flames at any moment. It was a fun time in the early 90s.
Mine did burn in the end, I think. I think I burnt the end of mine.
I once got caught in a wind tunnel, not an actual wind tunnel, but like, you know, when you go to a castle and they've got like the walkway there and the wind really picked up and it just like ripped, and I just ended up wearing the lining. It just looked horrific. I was painting a picture of a very cool person. I know, can you believe and look at the man I've become today?
Thinking
Not very
about
different.
I'm sure my mum, when I ripped my shell suit at one point, I'm sure she darned it.
Darned it.
Like, sewed it up.
She went, darn
it.
What are you down to your shell suit?
It was before we moved from Kentucky. But yeah, I'm sure she sewed it up, which is a terrible idea for shell suits. Really terrible idea.
Anything to do with a shell suit is a terrible idea. Yeah. I remember jumping over bonfires wearing them.
Yeah, see, that's what I think I burnt mine on in the end, was a bonfire.
Darn
it.
So what other kind of rules of school have we had to live with?
One thing that bothered me was not being able to wear makeup at school.
You're not allowed to wear at all?
Not when no.
Actually, you're probably still not. Yeah.
But even if it was just like, you'd
now.
put the tiniest bit, like if you felt insecure about like spots or something, and if they've caught you like wearing it, anyone would get given like a makeup wipe to wipe it off, and it's just like, I just don't understand how that would affect your education.
Yeah. I think if anything, those sort of rules are more strict now. Like a lot of schools, they've got like real particular hairstyles you're allowed to have and not have.
I would have thought that it'd have got less strict, just because younger girls now tend to wear quite a lot of makeup. But yeah.
Well, that whole idea of a school uniform is they want everybody to look the same, don't they? I mean, God, my skin was so bad when I was at school. I'm just surprised that the school didn't insist I wore makeup.
Yeah, that just always annoyed me. I just don't see how it affects your education.
I agree.
Yeah.
I had a similar attitude to when they used to make me wear a tie.
Oh, we used to have to wear a tie.
So how does that help my education, sir?
Yeah.
We didn't have to wear shoes, so you could wear any trainers you want. So everyone used to wear school uniform, but then there was always like
But they had to be black.
You got to no. Like, so everyone would like try and get the latest Reebok pumps.
Nice. I remember my head teacher trying to get me to remove my piercings.
Really?
What piercings did you have?
I had ear piercings. Yeah.
No, facial piercings.
Yeah, he was just like, he tried ripping out my nipple ring. And he's right, actually. I look at photographs and I just think, yeah, you scruffy bastard.
Aw.
So, but this is the thing, you don't, by definition, you're just not very mature at school. I wish I could do it again. Do you know those movies where, like, they wake up in their younger self's body? I really wish I could do it, and I feel like I would do a much better job of it, not just of like actually learning, just generally being a better person. I wonder if, and I think I've said this on the podcast before, part of my motivation for the Don't Be a Dickhead podcast is just like the wasted youth and the way that I would treat other people. And I definitely crossed that line between like thinking that banter is fine and actually it's bullying. If you keep bantering, it becomes bullying. And what I'd say to somebody, and I do say this to like younger people now, it's like, you can have a laugh, but it's never okay to make somebody feel bad just to make you feel better. Whether that's to make you laugh or because you've got issues going on at home or in your head or something like that. I only think that the only time you should be allowed to make somebody feel bad is when you're trying to teach them to improve them. And that's my justification for why we're allowed to make a podcast pointing out people's behavioural problems. We're not bullying you. It's not even banter. We just want to improve you.
Yeah.
One of the other dark sides of school is fighting. Did you have many fights, Alex?
No. I never had one fight.
Girl fights are awful, aren't they?
I don't think I've ever been involved in a fight.
You've never been involved in a fight?
I've been, as Alex knows, I've been headbutted.
Oh.
Did you tell this on the podcast, or was
No,
you just
I
telling
didn't,
me? Because
no.
I remember crying with laughter when you were
Yeah.
telling me the story.
It's not
I really
a great
enjoyed
story.
it.
It's,
It's not very nice.
I just got headbutted, like...
It's the way you told it, sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember how I told it now either, but yeah,
I'm trying not to laugh.
I got headbutted.
Why am I
a
laughing?
lot
That's awful.
by the same guy, mainly for just wandering past him.
Oh.
But I was good at taking it. I was good
my
at taking
You
headbutts.
just repeatedly headbutt him.
Not like stood there and just kept headbutting me. Just like each day I'd just get my daily headbutt.
Oh.
How did you feel about that? And I don't even know why I'm...
It's not
Why is
funny.
this-
I am laughing
Just 'cause
because
you're
of when
laughing,
he
it's-
initially told me the
Alex.
story.
It was-
He said it in a really
yeah.
funny way.
It was quite funny, you know. It was
What
alright.
is this? Hey, everybody,
That
a
took you
child
well.
was being headbutted every day. It's not comedy gold.
One time I saw him outside of school and he came up and headbutted me, and it was just it was like he thought like, oh, I've seen you in a few weeks, headbutt. And it just sort of like wandered. It was kind of a real like nonchalant, like nothing caused it. We didn't even speak. Just like wandered up, gave him a headbutt, and then wandered off again. Like he was handing out my daily medicine.
Oh my God.
Have you had your headbutt today? Oh no, sorry, no, I need to remember that. Doctor said.
It's not cool. But yeah, oh no, I think this podcast is making me so self-aware of my behaviour that I don't even know why I'm laughing. I mean, I like you, so I don't know why the idea of you being hurt.
It's just, it's just one of them things. Yeah, I think aside from that, I don't think I've ever
Should
been
it be
involved
one
in
of
a
those
fight.
things, though? Should it?
Yeah.
You've
Oh,
made
well,
it sound a
maybe you
lot
were
worse
looking.
now, so I feel awful for laughing.
No, it's okay. It's good fun.
Yeah, I mean, Alex pretty much said, "Hey, Ian, tell us that funny story about the time you got headbutted as a child." So, see, I had quite a lot of fights as a child. It was just like a thing that I did. I didn't. Well, when I was really younger, I would start fights with bigger kids that I knew I couldn't win. Maybe that was my psychological equivalent of eating paper.
Yeah.
No, just like a self-defeating prophecy.
Yeah.
And when I was at primary school, there was another primary school next door to ours. And for reasons that probably didn't even exist, we decided we would have a fight. So I was in year 6 at the time, so we were the biggest ones. And we lined up on lunchtime, ready to invade their playground. So we were all like that, and it was, like a battle movie, like Braveheart or something like that. So I led the charge, with my hand in the air going, "Ah!" And then as I
gangs in
approached
New
them,
York or
I
something.
realised that I was the only person who'd continued the assault. But I was like, what do I do now? Do I turn around and run and look like a wimp, or do I go? So I carried on while they were all waiting for me. So I effectively tried to fight an entire school on my own, and didn't get on very well. Just got there.
Did you get beat up?
Yeah, I did get
Aw.
beat up. But I deserved it. I absolutely deserved it. And there was.
At least you stood your ground.
They were harder than me anyway. I think 1-on-1 I'd have lost. But these lads, because two primary schools next door to each other, we ended up going to secondary school together, and a lot of them ended up being my mates.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "Were you that weird kid that just tried to fight us all?" I was like, "Yeah, that was me."
Oh.
And yeah, I didn't mind. I mean, I would just like stand up to the bullies when I was really young, but I would just frequently get beat up after school. But the thing is, at primary school, you don't really get hurt. It's just inconvenient.
No.
The worst thing that happens is you get a bit of a graze and some of your damaged clothes. But when you get older, when you get punched, it really hurts. I remember just this kid from Council Estate would come in, who was like acting like the big I am, and he was picking on somebody. I said something to him, and he went, "You are," and I said, "You heard what I said," thinking that we would have one of them like child put each other in headlocks, wrestling on the floor kind of scrapes. He just walked up and just lamped me in the mouth. And just on my lips just went full of blood like that. I was thinking, that's not how we do it. Not around here. I'm from like a tough council estate like you, mate. This is the stuff I'd read about in Ladybird books of war. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not. I don't know if they happen as much now. My kids haven't had fights.
Yeah, I don't think
there used to be a fight every day at my school.
Yeah, there used to be at mine, but then when I was teaching, I only remember like 1 or 2 fights.
Because everyone would just swarm, wouldn't they? You know when there's a fight because everyone would just swarm.
It's one of the worst behaviours, isn't it? Fight, and just like baying for blood. I mean, it's a primal urge to some extent, but now when they film it, the schools really do clamp down on it. So I know people got into a lot of trouble who actually didn't start the fight, didn't really particularly encourage it, but because they filmed it, they really do punish them. Yeah. Although part of me wished that kind of technology was around for a fight I saw at school, which was definitely worth filming. And it was my younger brother, who wasn't a fighter, but one day that it was arranged. Who arranges these things? Like, do you know, like boxing
they were
promoters?
regularly arranged.
Some wannabe Don King or Frank Warren had decided that me, my younger brother, and one of his mates were going to fight 3 other people, and it was like bills, you know, like a triple tag team match that they have on WWF Wrestling or something like that. Anyway, the kid I was supposed to fight didn't turn up. And the kid that his mate was supposed to fight didn't turn up. However, my brother, who was the one least up for the fight of the 3 of us, his opponent turned up. And my brother didn't want to fight at all. But then what he did is, and you'd like this, Ian, because my brother repeatedly headbutted him into a fence. My brother was getting upset and crying and shouting, "I headbutt, don't headbutt, want to headbutt, fight." And then so while his opponent was absolutely great, and then my brother just went, "But so just stop there, we'll say you won." We were all like, Jesus, where did that come from?
We'll say you won.
Yeah, he basically dealt out a full week's worth of headbutting in one 30-second spell.
That's dangerous.
That's excessive.
Yeah.
Aww.
That sounds absolutely amazing. I remember once when I was babysitting, when I was older, and not like when I was, not primary school, secondary school, something like that, and I was babysitting for these 2 kids, and one of them had hurt the other one, I think with some scissors or something. So good a babysitter I was. And so I said, like, you need to go through and apologise to your brother. And then all I heard was this commotion. I went through to the other room, and the one who'd done the hurting originally was knelt over the other one, repeatedly punching him, shouting, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I was like, "What are you doing?" And he said he wouldn't accept my apology. So he beat the apology into him. God.
I mean, the only saving grace from this is these acts of violence is when you're younger and you can't really hate each other that much. Well, you can, particularly if scissors are involved.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake that it wasn't like a stabbing.
No, it wasn't like a ghost attack.
No.
And sorry, call back there to our Supernatural episode again. But yeah, when you get older, when adults fight, it's dangerous. Yeah. So there's part of getting out. You shouldn't fight. No. You certainly shouldn't. If somebody doesn't want to fight, they're in a real difficult situation, aren't they? That is just like, it's a hotbed of dickheadery. That after school, let's all have a scrap thing. And in my experience, fortunately, they didn't really amount to much. But when they did, people do get hurt.
Me and my friend Daniel once, we were messing about at school, and I can't remember what we were doing, but I was like punching him in the chest, not really hard, like fun kind of punching him in the chest, but for quite a while, just like messing about. Anyway, come the end of school, I went and waited for him outside the classroom that he was supposed to come out of, and he didn't come out of it, and everyone else did. So then I went round looking for him, couldn't find him anywhere. I was getting really annoyed at this point, thinking, like, I've just waited for like 20 minutes after school to find him. I had to walk home on my own. Got back and went straight over to his house. He lived opposite me. I went in and I said, "Where's Daniel? He didn't wait for me after school." And they were like, "Oh yeah, we had to pick him up earlier from hospital. His lung collapsed."
No.
Yeah. So there we go. So I don't know whether one thing led to the other, but there was a tension pneumothorax.
So you must have been punching him pretty hard.
Well, I don't think I was, but his lung did collapse. I don't think it was as a result of the punches. Who knows? He says not. He's a doctor.
Okay.
No, he wasn't at the time. He's not Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
Do you know, earlier on, I made a joke about this, but there's a bit of a backstory developing here. So Ian was like excluded from his class and like sent to hang out with the villains, and then we've had multiple stories of his like surprisingly superhuman strength. So you could be an evil villain.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why I've never got into a fight, because like it was drilled into me when I was a really young age by my father. You can't.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly, yeah, and I've just forgotten that.
Yeah, and when he lapses, it's like people's clothes just come flying off or their lungs just implode.
People's clothes come flying
I feel a bit bad now for mocking him. I'm a bit frightened now. Yeah.
Oh no.
So, yeah.
So watch out, otherwise we'll see all your piercings.
So that's been Don't Be a Dickhead talking about school. What have we learned today? Well, we've learned that teachers can be dickheads as well. So if you're a teacher, right, I'm sure it's like really admirable, but remember that like these are kids right, in their formative years. So one thing that you might do as a prank or as a story that we can't use as part of the podcast, Mr. Thompson, that could actually really seriously mess your head up for quite some time. We've also learned that the drive for achievement has got many forms, but it doesn't necessarily need to go into a burgundy collection of your achievement. We've learned that fighting isn't cool. I feel guilty for the fact that I've been laughing at headbuttery.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. Dickheadery. So otherwise, although maybe that's where he gained his special powers. So that's been Don't Be a Dickhead Goes Back to School. So what have we learned today? Ian, what have you taken from our multi-level discussion?
I mean, I suppose don't rip clothes off kids.
Yep. I mean, maybe you didn't take
That's
this
good
podcast to learn that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that's it. That would be dickheadery of a serious order.
Yeah, going forward, at least I can remember.
Good one. Alex?
I'd say my main bit of advice is to refrain from eating A4 sheets of paper.
Oh, any sheet?
Specifically A4. I mean, I'd stay clear of A3 and A5 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be very hungry then, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Certainly. And I've learned that whilst in past episodes of DBAD, I've blamed my own personal dickheadery on alcohol. Turns out that just being alive is enough for me. When I wasn't old enough to be drinking it, I still managed to find levels of dickheadery. And I've absolutely squirmed in this one because I've realised, why have I found the idea of Ian being headbutted so hilarious? Let off slightly by the fact that I now have a theory about that's where his superpowers have come from. In a fascinating backstory and a future that we're all looking forward to. So, I've been John Gilbert.
I've been Ian Thompson.
I've been Alex King.
And remember, don't be a dickhead.